5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Crew Cats. It is the Crew Corner podcast. My name is Matt, and in with us filling in for AJ today is Mr. Adam Wertz.
Hello, hello.
So thanks for being here. Thanks for filling in on relatively short notice for this one. AJ is out moving. He is finding himself a new house, so congratulations to him. Must be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably better than my one room I'm renting that I'm still having a hard time affording. Yeah.
Same here. This is our basement studio here at Crew Corner. So we're here to talk a little bit about the final word on the Sounders FC game and do a little bit of a preview on Real Salt Lake. So Adam, you were with us at Endeavor.
Yes.
On Saturday night. How was the game?
I liked the game a lot. I couldn't. The start for the Crew, I think, is good. They look good for both games. I mean, we won the first one. This game tied, but this was the champs, really.
Yeah.
And I knew they were the champs because they had a gold star above their white star that they had.
We're still not sure where the white star is coming from, if that's a supporter shield or a U.S. Open Cup. We don't know where. We don't know the source of that star.
I just like how they had two different stars, one different sizes, different colors, and this could be a whole thing.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be, a supporter shield or a cup. I was pleased yesterday. I was hosting trivia and I asked the question, what MLS club has the most MLS cups of all time, with 5? And most of the teams got it right.
Yeah.
Most of the teams correctly answered LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
And the ones who got it wrong said Seattle Sounders, which I think is number 2 or 3.
Sounds right.
So that means they're watching soccer. That's good. That means people have a clue as to what's going on. And I always have a running joke with my answers at trivia. If you don't know the answer, but if you can make me laugh, you don't get any points, but you will get my respect.
Yes.
And that's almost as good.
Yes.
So people, if you don't know, I was expecting like Manchester United, Brazil,
no Crew answers at all.
France, no.
They all knew better than that.
Yeah, they all knew better than
wait,
the Crew.
this is an Ohio professional sports team. There can't be that many championships between them.
No.
There just can't be.
No, they came around after the 60s, so that's not happening. So we are enjoying our Brewdog beers, the Blue Jackets Cannon Blast American Pale Ale.
Not a sponsor, but they should be, right?
Not a sponsor, but they totally should be. We'll circle on that. I mean, you follow the Blue Jackets a ton too.
Yes.
And we've talked about maybe having you doing some Blue Jackets content for us as well.
Yeah, I'm a huge sports fan. I am, comparatively to everything else, I am new to soccer. I've been following it, where I'm watching every game. I think in my 5th year now.
Yeah, that's about where I am. I think I started following
after. Oh, really? I thought even
I started
more so.
following hardcore. I followed the Crew in my youth, and then I left for school. Kind of there was no coverage for the Crew in Northern Ohio from 2004 to 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Really, there was no place you could really find content, and social media wasn't a thing yet.
That's true.
So it just, out of sight, out of mind, and then I didn't really come back into it until I followed it casually once I got back here, but it wasn't until Save the Crew happened
that's when
that I really realized how much this club actually did mean to me. It was kind of like once you realize it could be taken away from you.
It's the worst thing that can happen in sports is you can complain about a team, your team might suck or it loses a lot, but if it leaves you and you got nothing, then
yeah, and you don't realize what an emotional release and attachment and what kind of intrinsic value that a team brings to you until there's the threat of it not being there.
Mm-hmm.
It is, it's always one thing, it's the greatest sports is the greatest uniter in all of world history and world politics. We stopped fighting wars and started playing soccer.
We've started wars also.
Yeah, but in the global sense of it, we stopped fighting wars and started playing soccer games instead.
Mm-hmm.
That's how countries battle it out with each other now.
Mm-hmm.
It's hey, if we can beat you in soccer, well then we're better. We're better. We've got the better men, the better army, the greater athletes. It's now moved into sports, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's important that America gets involved in the global game. We've talked about that a boatload, and we'll talk U.S. soccer with anybody on this channel too.
Sure,
we'll always do that one. But it got a little bit interesting because I touched on this a little bit, and our good friend Bill Bush wrote an article for the Dispatch. Recently, he's also responsible for uncovering the we'll just say the stories that the city has not exactly been forthright with how much they're committing to the new Columbus Crew Stadium, which has nothing to do with the Crew. That is not the Crew's fault. It is not the Crew's or the fans' fault.
It's a government/business. To get how would you put it?
It's a private-public partnership.
Yeah.
And when one it's
something that's on to the thing that's secondary, which is the Crew and the team and everything.
Yeah. And it sucks that the city did that, because as Crew fans, we want the stadium. Of course we want the stadium. We want the new downtown stadium, and we all want that.
Yes.
But when the city is not being forthright to its constituents or to the club, for that matter, there's been no evidence that the Crew has been privy to any of that, or that they were in on that. It's only been that the city was kind of trying to misrepresent and where they were hiding things, which is ironically very common in local politics. But then
general politics.
Yeah. But then the more recent story now is that Nationwide sells the arena to the city in 2012. The deal is that only Hollywood Casino tax revenue will pay for the sale, and if we don't bring in any revenue, well, then the city just doesn't pay it.
Yes.
Well, that's true, and it happened because the casino hasn't been bringing in the revenue that they projected, which, if you looked at the voting numbers in 2009, when 58% of Franklin County voted against the casino bill, the writing was kind of on the wall that the city of Columbus didn't really care for this. They didn't want it, or they didn't care for it, at least. And that's why the casino's on Georgesville Road off of Broad Street and not
where they wanted it.
And not downtown in the Arena District. So that's not bringing in. Plus, at that point, then you're also counting on gaming companies whose entire business model revolves around rigging the system for themselves to not try to dodge their taxes. I have a bridge to sell you if you believe that's not a thing. So they're not bringing in the money, so that means the city is not paying on this loan that they got, because those were the rules, those were the terms of the contract, they were adhering to them. Mm-hmm. But that didn't stop Nationwide from just racking up interest on the unpaid loan. It still accrued interest.
Yes.
For all those times that it wasn't paid. And everybody knew this wasn't it. Dating back to at least as far as I could find is 2015, when the new Convention Center Authority Executive Director Dan Brown took over. Everybody knew this was an issue that they had to deal with. 4 years go by, they still haven't dealt with it at all. And Save the Crew comes to fruition. And D. Haslam, we were there. We all remember that
Sweet
day.
D. We all chanted Sweet D.
I
love you, Sweet D.
We all remember that day. We all remembered booing Don Garber, and Don Garber just standing there yeah, I deserve all of this. Sweet D announced that stadium deal in January of 2019. And then in February of 2019, Nationwide reaches out to the city saying, hey, if we're going to do this deal with you and the Crew for Confluence Village, we're going to renegotiate this Nationwide deal. And there's going to be some property taxes involved this time. So now if you're the city, it's we just promised the Crew this new stadium. We've just gone public with it.
There's the leverage.
We can't pull... Could you imagine, if they actually announced that deal, and then a month later we're hey, sorry, we're not going to be able to meet the MLS deadline. Everything's back up in the air again because Nationwide pulled out of the deal.
Yeah.
Which, you don't go into that unless you're willing. You don't go in with that move unless you're willing to walk away. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's kind of like buying a car. It's like negotiating for anything. You have to be prepared to be able to pull the whole thing out to even have the conversation to begin with.
And the Nationwide saw the leverage they could get.
And they saw the leverage, and they jumped right on that. And, say what you want about it. I personally thought it was a dick move, but I know other people who thought, from Nationwide's perspective, man,
it's a business move.
That is a brilliant
business move.
It's a brilliant business move, man. If I'm Brian Ellis's boss and I see that message and that goes out, I am pouring that man a whiskey and a cigar. All right? That is a brilliant business move. But none of that changes the fact that it is now shifting the arena sales to the taxpayers. It is. It just is. It just is. There's no way around that. And a lot of us are Crew fans who live in town, so like, and if we're Crew fans, we still get the stadium, and we're okay with it. But if I'm looking at this from the perspective of someone who's not into the Crew or might get interested into the Crew, and you see that they just, even though the Crew had nothing to do with it, once again, they were the pawns in the game that was the leverage that Nationwide used to get it, the blowback still falls on the Crew. Especially if you look at the, we're going to have Nationwide Children's across our uniform.
For now, until
we're going to have the
2 more years.
Yeah, next year we're going to have the N and Eagle across our chest. And all the rumors are pointing to that it's either going to be Nationwide or White Castle as the stadium sponsor. I really hope it's White Castle.
I want White Castle.
Just for the theme.
I want
I
want walled turrets around the side. I want battle armaments on all the turrets and just shooting out streamers of whatever. The theme. There could be a drawbridge for when the Crew comes in instead of walking. I want a drawbridge where the theming of White Castle be
defend the castle. Like the thematics write itself. But again, it looks like Nationwide's probably in the front seat there as far as who's going to land that. So if the city is giving millions of taxpayer dollars to Nationwide, and then Nationwide is giving millions of sponsorship dollars to the Crew, it kind of just looks like the city is giving millions of taxpayer dollars to the Crew. And I know that's not the case, because again, the Crew didn't have any say in that part of the process, but it just looks that way, and it's really hard to have that same conversation a million billion times over with new potential fans and people in the city. And I can understand where it just kind of becomes a drag on you, and you start kind of taking it personally against the people that are, one, putting the story out there, and two, that got done to you. So you just kind of get defensive about it. So I understand the fan reaction to, I don't want to say like, oh, just kind of ho-hum about it. But it's kind of like we should probably talk about this, because the critics of this stadium deal are just going to use this to beat us over the head with it, and it's completely unfair.
Yeah,
that the Crew is falling into this on that.
As a sports gambler, and I am, one of the ways we can get some casino money as soon as the state of Ohio wakes up and does what Indiana does and all that, and
sports betting.
There's some revenue. Especially if you read some articles like what the future sports betting would be like actual apps, like they have with Vandal. So if we get that money, now you don't have to go to the casino. If you just get the Ohio gaming of like on my phone, oh look, there's a second half point spread. Let me pop that in there. That and easy. That's millions upon millions of revenue.
And that's something. And this is
that I do, but my money's in Antigua or something like that.
Yeah. Right now it's going through Antigua. Who knows what's going to? I mean, there's a lot of issues surrounding that. Actually, one of the presidential candidates I supported was very big on legalizing it because it's so dangerous and people are going outside and losing money. And like, if we just kind of open up, like, we can do it. We have the technology.
Oh, yes.
And when you do it for legalized sports betting, the problem with the casino revenues is based off of income tax. So which, again, you're assuming that the gaming company is not going to try and dodge all the taxes they possibly could. But if you're doing it for sports betting, you can put a transactional tax on it. So it's only the people who are making the bets who are paying the... Basically the same thing as cigarettes, alcohol, sin tax. It'd be a sin tax on it as well. And you could do that, and you could totally rack up money on that. Because, man, I went to Atlantic City for the Gold Cup final. One bet on Team America, and like boom, I instantly sitting there watching that game, and I'm like, oh, I could get into this. It's real easily. And like when you've got a nice sports book at a location too, like that becomes a viewing destination too. If any of you have seen the sports books in Atlantic City or Las Vegas. They are fantastic viewing facilities just to watch a game.
Yeah, I remember being in Vegas and like, oh, what are you going to do in Vegas? You're going to go out, walk around? Like, well, I spent Saturday at the Caesars Sportsbook for 8 hours just watching on all their 20,000 TVs of all the sports. I remember I bet on the Columbus Destroyers losing. Like, that was easy money.
Did that? That was easy
that was
money?
The Chris Spielman Columbus Destroyers. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was easy money.
That was not the Earl Bruce Columbus Destroyers that made it to the finals.
No.
Or was that the Cleveland Gladiators? I think that was the Gladiators.
Yeah.
The Bernie Kosar owned Cleveland Gladiators, which that filed for bankruptcy, which wasn't Bernie Kosar's fault. That one was the league. That one was on the league. That one was not on our man Bernie.
So you couldn't blame. You didn't have to blame his parents for that one either, for losing the money on that.
Yeah. That one was all. That one was all the league. Yeah, he had already run his own life into the ground, I believe, at that point. Don't quote me on that. We love you, Bernie. But so circling back to Seattle, I mean, with what we saw out of that game was that it's certainly coming together.
Yes. This is better than I thought, honestly. Like, and some Browns fans might know, like the hype. I'm not a Browns fan. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I have a bunch of Browns friends.
I'm one of them.
Yep. And I said, all right, so over under, and I was seeing the over under on this win. It was like 10 wins. I'm like, man, that seems high. And I asked every Browns, like, oh, we'll crush that, easy, no doubt. And I'm like, I don't know. This is still the Browns. This is still a 7-win team. You're gonna hop up 3, and I was worried because like. The crew, how excited were we, right? We talent. Oh my God, the talent that we brought in. But I'm like, I remember this team last year. It was not fun. This was a bad, disappointing team. And even adding all this, I was like, well, I like where we could go, but I'm not going to hop in saying, oh, we're going to be top 2 in the East. I'm like, we could, but I was not thinking so. After these two games.
Yeah, right? Like
New York, top of the East last year.
0-2 New York, by the way. 0-2 New York City.
We helped with that. And then Seattle on the road, the defending champs. We got 4 points out of this.
Yeah. I mean, I went in going this season saying for these first 5.
I know you were higher than me when we first talked about.
Yeah. I said if we could get 9 points from these first 5, which is New York City, Sounders, Real Salt Lake, Nashville, and Toronto. Mm-hmm. If we can get 9 points from those 5 games, that's good. That is a thumbs up, hands down, no doubt about it, success. We're just under halfway there now. We pick up 3 against Real on Saturday, and we're en route to eclipsing that effectively. Because I think they can handle Nashville on the road.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that one. Real Salt Lake's a good team.
I mean, they finished 3rd in the West last year.
They did.
Admittedly, I am not as up to date on them as I would like to be, but they're a solid team, and they have been for a while. They're not a surprise team, either. They are an established quality team in the MLS. So, I mean, are we still thinking 9 points is good, or are we expecting more at this point between Nashville?
Not that I think that the 2 I was most worried about, having a new team, how quickly can we gel? Getting 4 points out of the first 2, I'd say, yeah, let's go.
Now, downside to that, doesn't appear to be there's any news yet on the knee of Vito Wormhor. We have not heard anything about that.
I thought he was at least participating.
That's possible. I haven't seen anything for it. I know he's practicing. I don't know if he's playing. And then we did get the news yesterday that Milton Valenzuela has a torn meniscus.
Is this one of those things where he's just going to be injury prone? It's still, he's so young, but still, it's like
he's only gonna be out for 2 weeks.
I think it's gonna be he's missing both because we got that bye coming up.
Yeah.
So I think he is gonna miss these next 2, and then after I want to keep, because we could talk about his replacement that I'm not a fan of, but we really need this guy to be healthy for his long term.
We really do. So he's gonna be out for 2 weeks. I think. His backup, Waylon Francis, is also injured.
Yes.
And I think he's still got 2 or 3 more weeks before he'll be back. So that means our left back is going to be your boy, the Scotsman, Chris Carden. The Scotsman.
I like his accent. I'll give him that. But I would say I almost need like a whipping boy for all my teams every year, and I think I found it.
You think it's going to be Carden?
Yeah. And he's playing out of I get it, he's playing out of position, but is he slow?
He is a tree. He is an absolute tree up there.
He is rooted to the ground.
Yeah, and I mean a tree in the positive and negative sense of like he is a big dude.
Yeah.
He's not someone you're going to be able to bully off the ball. So if he does get you into that tackle, I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take him in that every opportunity. But I mean, watching him go against Jordan Morris, who is just a speed demon on the wing, just blowing right by him.
The first touch, and I'm like, whoa, he blew by him. And you're saying, well, yeah, but, Morris fast. I'm like, yeah, but Ken just came. He's fresh. Yeah. Morris has 45 minutes of running on him, and he just blew by him. I mean,
to be fair, he was blowing by. He was getting a solid step, half step to a step on Awful, too. So, like, I tried to taper it, and I rewatched the match. He did have some pretty good blocks on Morris, too, in the towards the end of the game, when it was really dicey there for a minute. But that one play where he was just in the box guarding empty space and Morris is just out on the wings. And Pedro Santos has to come down and be like, okay, well, I guess I'll guard the best guy on the team. This seems like
Which is what you want. You want Pedro Santos guarding the best guy on your team.
This seems like a mismatch, and it was. And it was a really dangerous cross that luckily didn't find any heads. Mm-hmm. And then after I think it was Ibarra or No who skied it. Like Pedro and Kirsten are like, what's going on here? And to be fair, after that, that's when things kind of settled down for Cadden. And then the other one where Morris just blew past him, cutting across the box, and the only thing that kept that from being from leveling it up at 65 was the fact that Ibarra barely just drifted off sides.
Yes.
I was like, ooh, this could be rough. So it's like he hung in there for the most part. But, like, the two most dangerous moments in the game, he was on the receiving end of both of them, unfortunately. And I think we're going to see that, especially now that he's playing at left back, which I don't think he was expecting to play in that game either.
Probably not, yeah.
So hopefully we'll see something more out of him for this Real game. But I think it's going to be a boom and bust kind of... He's going to be a boom and bust kind of player, where he's going to be making ridiculous plays, and then also have some where like, what is happening here? But I still like him. I think he's got a really bright future with this team. I mean, Awful's 33. He's not getting any younger, but he's still got some wheels for now. Awful's one of those guys, man, where if he were just like 20 pounds heavier and kept his speed, like we wouldn't see him. We wouldn't even have him. He would not even be on this team to begin with. He'd be playing in one of the European leagues. Although I did read a story recently. I think it was from CNN of all things. It was Michael Ariza, who's a Ugandan national player who plays for, I want to say DC United, but don't quote me on that. And he was getting asked about like the African game and the African players, and he actually had floated the thought that, I think you're gonna see more African players come to MLS because while like Germany's okay, England is okay, but like the lower leagues, basically Italy, Spain's probably in the middle. They're probably below England and like Germany for African. Yeah. But like Italy, Spain, and then all the leagues below them, like they just don't want to deal with the racism. It's not worth the BS that they have to deal with going over there and playing is just not something they want to deal with. And when you're getting to those lower level leagues, like they're not
the money's probably close.
Yeah, when you're getting to the lower level leagues, the money's pretty much the same.
Yeah, then you go. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
like then they're gonna come over here, and we've already seen where like MLS has kind of become like the stopping point for South and Central American players.
And there's so many more. And this league's growing so fast with teams. There's just more roster spots to fill.
Yeah, and with what Mexico has done with their FA in limiting the number of
just nationals.
Yeah, limiting the number of foreign nationals they can have on a roster. That's how we got Zellerian. It's because he was effectively a roster cut because Tigres could only have so many non-Mexican players on their roster now, and he wound up being one of the people that he could be kind of a cap casualty, so to speak. Plus, they could make a decent amount of money. They made $7 million off of him anyway, so they got a good payday, and they cleared up a roster spot for him. So we're going to see the benefit of that a lot too. Now the question then is, what does that do to the American game?
Is the USHL? I'm not US. That's hockey league. Sorry, the United States soccer one.
USL.
Yeah, USL. Thank you. That's enough. I mean, are they growing with teams too? Like every time I see, it's almost like a training ground to see if you might get up to MLS. So if I'm an investor, like, oh, we can make the big time.
That is probably
they're losing teams to us. Are they gaining more teams?
Yeah, that's a better question for AJ than it is for me. Unfortunately, he's more well versed in that. and I keep going back to it. Eventually, they're going to have to get some sort of organization in process, whether it's pro-rel or a farm system in place for all these teams, because you're getting to a point now, if MLS says they want 36 teams, you're not going to be able to play everybody.
No.
You're just not. So you're going to have to find other ways to try and make it work. And then the other big thing right now is in MLS, all the money is not real.
No.
It's not real money.
The only real money is people buying expansion franchise and getting that 150 million.
It's all
that's the real income for all these owners.
It's all GAM money and TAM money and Garber bucks, and it's like none of this money is actually real, and that's kind of what lends credence to the argument that like MLS is a Ponzi scheme. And it's like, yeah, but I like it. But I like it. It's fun.
It's more fun. It's more fun to watch than...
It is very fun to watch. Like, it is not... I still like the English game. I think that is the best combination of, like, physicality and talent.
My favorite's Bundesliga.
Bundesliga's good, too.
I like offense. And soccer's, like, the only sport where, like, I like offense. Normally, I'm a defensive guy. I really enjoy defense. But when there's so few scoring in soccer, I'm like, that's what I love Zella, man. Zella's like, just let's go. We're scoring goals. I don't care, man. We're going to go forward. We're going to try and score goals.
I highly recommend the Eredivisie in the Netherlands, then.
Oh.
I've compared the Eredivisie. Eredivisie is like Big 12 football.
I should check it out then. Because that's what I like Bundesliga. I mean, they're like, all right, look, we're going to try and score 3 goals. We're not trying to score 1. We're going to try to score 3.
Yeah, and that's an issue that we run into a lot. Like, what was that? The goal from I think it was the Dortmund goal in one of their more recent Champions League match. I was watching it in review with one of the MLS groups I'm in, and they were like, if they do this in America, like, we're just looking at that, like, that's just bad defense. I think Americans, we have this affinity with being, like, the defenders and, like, being the last line of defense, and however, like, we have this, have you ever noticed, like...
More so, also, like, because we're not in Big 12 country, we're going to go to college football. Like, remember the Buckeyes 2 years ago? That was the most frustrating team. It was like rooting for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to score 50 and we're going to let you score 48 and we're going to try and win that. I hated it. It. It just made my skin crawl.
Yeah, and it was rough, and it wasn't until they went up against a Clemson team that actually had a defense, and we're like, oh, this is not going to end well. I have I don't know, like my love for the Buckeyes has waned in recent years, and I think that's just more because I have developed a further commitment to the Crew and basically to soccer in general, to the Crew, to Everton, and to the Blue Jackets, than what Ohio State is bringing to the table. Plus, I think a lot of their business decisions they have been made have not been to the benefit of the viewing public. I feel it's been mainly to the benefit of the Ohio State University. They've got their big swinging Buckeyes.
Oh yeah,
and they're swinging them like with the parking passes, like just selling the parking passes. And it's like you're screwing so many people.
Yeah, but then there's also people wearing the gimp suit saying, "Please screw me, Daddy," because it's Ohio State football. They'll do anything.
Yeah, they'll do it anyways. And I was like, I mean, they're gonna do it anyway. I don't know why I'm getting that. I don't know why I'm getting this mad about it. Like, because businesses do what businesses have always done: try to make a buck. And with this team, I think they really are trying to do it with the Crew. I'm talking about with the Crew. I think they're really trying to do it the right way in building their own sponsors. I feel like the Crew has been operating on a more European-style business model for this whole time.
Explain what you mean. I'm curious.
That they're operating more like we have our local sponsors, and they take care of us, and we take care of them. Mm-hmm. We're not going to worry about what MLS is doing in their sponsors. We're going to make sure that our team is set and ready to go. Now, the problem with that is the attendance has not quite... The gate hasn't been there. So they've been, having to rely more on those local sponsors, plus they let MLS in with their sponsorship as well. And now there's kind of this this back and forth between, like, well, the Crew's got a Pepsi sponsor, but the drink sponsor of MLS is Coke.
Yeah.
You know, who's gonna be the one winning this battle here? Who's going to win the battle of the sponsors? And the Crew has always operated on its own. I would say since the current regime took over, they have operated on their own behalf.
I want to see
and the fans' behalf, and they've never been shy about that.
No, I just like it. There's effort in trying. Like we've had ownership now for really since the beginning. You knew it was planned that they wanted to get out. But like, especially in those last few years, they're like, we're not even trying at all.
Oh yeah, under the Precourt regime. Oh my god,
not trying to court anyone at all. Like, and then this, like, look, we're actually going to try. We're going to try and reach out. And I think local can work, or at least it has a chance to work when you actually try, like hard. Like, and that's why, I think you said, like we're with these sponsorship deals that we might begin would be more than anything Precourt ever got. Oh, so I think we're trying. Like, hey, look, we're serious. We actually want to be here.
And the club, I know the club is having focus groups with fan organizations, with business organizations, because like I think the club is seeing the stories that are coming out that they're getting wrapped into, and they're even though they're not a part of that, they still look like they're the beneficiaries of this, and unfortunately, perception is reality. So they're going, look, hey, if taxpayer dollars are going to Nationwide and sponsorship dollars are coming from Nationwide to the Crew, it looks like we're getting them. So if the people are already cutting the checks, we better do our best. We the club and we the fans have to do our best to make sure we are putting out a product that is worth buying into, because secret's out, you may or may not already be buying into it. So we have to make sure there's a product that is worth it. Mm-hmm. And I think the best thing we as fans can do is really just break out of our shells. Like, and every fandom has this problem. This is not an issue that is exclusive to the Columbus Crew. Every fandom kind of live in their little bubble, and they just talk to other fans.
Yes.
And when you're the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals or the Ohio State Buckeyes, like, you have a massive fan base. They're all around. You know, if I were to poll 100 random people and say how many Crew games have you went to in the course of your life, how many of them say 0?
Just literally just pulling off the people of street, Broad Street or whatever.
Yeah, I would say at least half.
Yeah,
at least half. We have to get out there and show that this product is fun. That it's fun. And that was something that Mark Cuban really took seriously when he bought the Mavericks. The Mavericks were a terrible team when he bought them.
Well, true. And this is the most chisel it in the stone. Here's the rule. You want people to come. What's the best way to do it? It's to win.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, winning is it. It's why the Blue Jackets, after they finally won one playoff series, that's TV ratings are sky high now. The attendance has been better since it was brand new. Like, they're doing well. It's about winning. And now that we spent all this money to get all this talent, in this beginning of the season, how I think we're looking good and we're looking in the right way.
We're spending the money on the right talent. Like, it sucked that we couldn't get Panarin or Duchesne. Like, we couldn't get any Panarin, Duchesne, or Bobrovsky.
Well, to stay. We got them, but then they didn't want to stay.
Yeah, but then they didn't want to stay. But, like, Dubois is locked up for a while. I think Jones is locked up for a while. Werenski's locked up for a while.
The Crew, like, if we start winning, with
the money the Crew's spending and who they're bringing in.
That's what I meant. Like, the Crew.
Completely off base.
There's a Crew podcast, Matt.
Yeah. It's a Columbus podcast. But
thank you. But, like, we start, because we had a bad season last year. It just did. Yeah. That was a bad team. If this team's really good, and then we parlay that into something brand spanking new, which is also one of the most sure things you could do to get people to care and want to go. This nice, fancy downtown stadium, hopefully White Castle, with the turrets and the battlements.
The trebuchets.
They could just they could have the ball instead of having the ref walk it up to the half. I want a trebuchet to drop the ball to launch it onto the half to get that thing going. Yeah. So with those two things together, if we have a good team and a new stadium, I think we could get it packed and look like we're like one of those expansion teams that always packs.
Yeah, and we got to show that it's fun, because like my big thing is, like, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times when I go to Crew games, especially when I'm standing in the Nordeck, like, the best part of the game has nothing to do with the actual game. It's the in-stand experience. It's the, jumping around. It's the drum beats. It's the, yo soy la voy. It's so much fun.
Yes.
It's so much fun. And I sound ridiculous by myself saying it.
No, it's...
But it's, as soon as you step in there, and it's like...
I don't roll my R's properly when I do the chant, too.
Yeah, so, like, it's so much fun. And it's like... It takes me back to a time, like, I was in marching band in high school. And, like... I wasn't a huge... I liked football, but the most fun was just being in the standing section, just making up our cheers and just being the fans.
That's curious, because I'm also, like, Nordeck's where I go. I think I went to... When's the last time you, like, sat in just, like, general public area? Not
home opener last year.
Okay. Have you been to one, like, where it's kind of like just a regular mid-season game?
Yes.
And what's that like compared to Nordeck? Because all I really know is Nordeck. I think I've been to one... like when they first came, like we're talking whatever, like probably like in 98 or 99. Otherwise, I've been in Nordeck the whole time. What's it like general public wise?
It would be like what we're doing right. For me, it's like what we're doing when I'm with fans and friends. It's like literally what we're doing right now, but it's colder, it's outside, and there's a soccer game going on in front of us. Like we're watching the game, but I'm still having the conversations about the exact same stuff and be like, yeah, so, I think we'll be fine if we come and go. Come on. Yeah, go. Oh, that's what it is.
Gotcha.
That's what it is. But I did notice, at least the home opener last year, sitting outside of Nordeck, that a lot of the fans outside of the Nordeck are starting to learn the cheers.
Is it general proximity of the Nordeck, or even like people the way far away?
We were clear. We were same side, but opposite ends.
Okay.
Them.
Yeah.
And like you'll see maybe out of a section of 100, you'll see maybe 10 or 15 people go ahead and join in on the tiers. Those are the numbers we need to get up.
Yeah.
Those are the numbers. We either need the numbers either for the Nordic need to increase to the point where they need to start getting more sections of the stadium, which would be awesome, or the casual fans just need to at least start getting, or we need to find a way for the casual fans to start getting in on the cheers.
I think there's going to be, I'm telling you, when any new stadium drops, people are just, like, even real casual, haven't even been to a game in a decade, like, hey, let's check out this new stadium. What's it going to be like? And if we combine that with a product that wins, which I think we're starting to do, we've been successful except for last year for a long time, but now, like, the excitement and some offense and just some good players and some winning. We can combine the winning with this new stadium, because some of the casual fans are, hey, let's check this out. It's a new stadium. What's this like? Oh, this is real exciting. Oh, it's really more compact. Fun. This is fun. We won. That's fun.
Yeah, we won. And like I've made this comparison. The release, joy, jubilation, whatever you want to call it. That moment when it clicks, like when the crew scores a goal. And the stadium lights, and the stadium and the fans light up. It is unlike any other. Like, it's better than the Browns or the Buckeyes scoring a touchdown.
It's the best part of soccer is the build up and then the release, the explosion of the goal.
That the explosion and release of that energy upon a goal is greater in soccer than any other sport in the world. The only one that even comes close to it is hockey.
Yeah, that's why I say hockey kind of borrows the best thing. I like hockey a lot. So it borrows the best, but even then, like, there's a lot of shots, a lot of chances where deflections and weird things like that, where it's so fast, but the soccer is such a slow build up going across the field, kind of a little bit slower, and then okay, we're gonna set up something. Oh, there might be some move, like it's slower, even more anticipation, more of getting your taste buds saliva. Like, oh, this could happen. This is the chance. This is the one chance. The one of 5 chances we'll get. This might be it.
Did you watch the reaction video of us? We were watching that goal in Seattle.
Yes,
it's exactly like that. You're like, come on.
You saw our eyes starting to widen a little, like, this is something. I see the spacing here. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, and I wish when we do that again, I'll make sure we have the sound for that one. But like,
you were making such brilliant, eloquent points.
We did.
Just believe us.
Oh my God,
believe us, fans.
Good.
Believe us.
They were so good.
Just think of the most smart and intelligent things. That's what we said the first half.
It's the best analysis this side of Neil Sika and Jordan Angeli. It's the best analysis you'll fine.
Those amateurs.
Those amateurs don't know what they're doing. I will say Jordan Angeli did put a tweet out asking for, like, who are all the Columbus Crew podcasts in town. I was like, us, please, us, please.
Jumping up and down, waving your arms up.
Yeah, come on. Give us a listen. And I think it would be beneficial for all of the Crew podcasts, maybe not to, like, have, like, a network of, like, obviously not be, like, a hive mind of what we're going to talk about, but just get to know each other a little bit, because, and I really do think podcasting is the wave of the future. I wouldn't be doing one if I didn't think that was the case. But it's where we're going now. And I mean, obviously in this town, Bone and Beam are the top dogs on that, and rightfully so, for soccer podcasting in this city. But yeah, like, just this season, like 10 more popped up. Like, Massive Report's back up and going. There's Al Angulo, which is the Spanish language Crew podcast. Thanks for the follow, Al Angulo guys, by the way. So I appreciate that. I'll be sure to check out you guys. I don't know how much I'll be able to catch up on and decipher, but
at least give them a download.
Yeah, give them a download. Make sure I'm listening to it. I feel like I should be brushing up on my Spanish anyways, because I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, there's a guy on YouTube who he's a white guy in New York who speaks Mandarin. And he'll just, like, go into Chinatown and, like, play dumb at first and, like, listen to people and, like, try to order stuff or, like, buy things from the fruit stands. And, like, he'll be able to hear, and you see the subtitles of, like, the Asian people basically, like, making fun of this big dumb white guy. And then he'll start speaking Chinese and they'll be like, oh, one, the shock, and then two, how when he comes in, immediately just start speaking, like, Mandarin to them. Like, even if they're being courteous, like, the way they talk to him then after he starts speaking Mandarin is just, they just treat you better. Because it's like, okay, this person has clearly made the effort to try to, like, really communicate with me in the way that I know how. And, like, and that's the most important part about learning another language. It's just making the effort that you're trying. So even if it's bad Spanish or bad Mandarin, it's the sign that, like, you're making the effort to really speak to someone in their language. Because I know you speak Japanese. A
bit, like, I was better than I am now, but it kind of reminded me of a funny story where, like, you look and you kind of assume who speaks the language. I lived in Japan for a while, and one of my friend's friend, he was Australian. And my friend's like, hey, he's coming to Japan. You want to meet him and kind of show him around? Like, absolutely happy to do that for the weekend. So he was Australian, but he was Asian. Yep. But he spoke no Japanese at all. So, hey, let's go to this restaurant. So we're sitting there, and we're ordering the menu, and I'm ordering in Japanese. And then he looks at me, and he's like, okay. But then he's, like, asking him, what do you want to eat? Like, oh, you're Asian, you know how to, I'm assuming you're Japanese, and you're with this white guy teaching him, bringing him around. And he looks at him, like, and he's asking him, and I'm like, no, he doesn't speak Japanese. I've ordered for him. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. But he just kept asking the guy who didn't speak Japanese at all the questions because he was Asian. Like, oh, you speak Japanese.
Yeah, and language is such a beautiful thing. So I should moral of the story, Matt needs to brush up on his Spanish. And, like, something else I did not realize, there is one person, I don't know if it's the whole front office, but I know at least in the ticketing office, there's only one person in the Crew SC ticketing office who speaks Spanish.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
And that might be the whole front office. Don't quote me on the whole front office, but at least in the ticketing office, there's only one person who speaks Spanish.
That's a lot of pressure, because they're going to be the contact for or the assumed contact for all the Spanish-speaking people we're trying to get.
Yep. And the Crew's got a good-sized Latino contingent of fans.
I see him in the Nordic, and I see him and I'm like, wow, that's it, just one. That's a lot of work then for them.
Yeah, and
whoever you are, I mean, I tip my hat to you. That's a lot of work in all the shows. Carlos.
Yeah.
Tip my hat to you. That's I'd get you some help, man. Because hopefully with this new regime, more outreach, more tickets. I think that I'd definitely get another. They really go after community, man.
Yeah, and it's like it is weird just to, like, drive around and just see, like, Columbus Crew billboards. It's weird to see that. Like, it's nothing I've ever seen before. Like, what is this? Promotional?
And
marketing and effort? We can do this. And that's what I said at the end of the Nationwide video, when I'm like, I think people kind of took it like I'm trying to throw Nationwide under the bus. I'm not trying to throw Nationwide under the bus. Yes, I used to work for them. Yes, I left by choice. Would I work for them again? Yeah, but I would prefer not to. So I'm not going to deny I probably have a minor implicit bias against them. That's kind of the point I was trying to make when I first announced that and did that video. Like, I may have a little implicit bias against them, but I don't have anything bad to say about like the people I worked with or even the people who were immediately above me. It was just that I used to work there. I chose not to work there anymore. I had my reasons for doing so. That's all. And I thought it was a dick move that they leveraged the STC movement to get that deal. That's it. Other than that, I thought the move itself was brilliant. It is interesting just to see how they're trying to make this work from a Crew SC organizational standpoint, and kind of how we could very quickly be getting to a point where if this team can compete with the New York Cities and the DCs and the LAs and the Seattles, if they can compete regularly, that then puts them into what's effectively, the MLS. Would that be the Big Six at that point? Both LA, Seattle, Portland, City, DC. There's 6.
So Premier League plus 1.
Yeah, the Sky.
I am interested. Is that what Haslam plans on doing? I think he could. He owns many organizations, and none of them been cheap.
Yeah.
So, when you first said that, I'm like, no, just no. But maybe that's just me being 20 years of us not even having our third designated player. Like, oh, no, we're going to carry 3, and we're going to try and make them it, and we're going to spend some money. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I said on a previous podcast, it looks like the NBA, and this is from the American standpoint.
Yeah.
The NBA and MLS are both trying to transition to the same business model, but they're doing it from completely opposite ends of the sporting spectrum from a fan base standpoint. NBA's at the absolute top. Like, the NFL is still the behemoth, but as far as like the global stage is concerned, NBA is number 2. It is soccer, and then it's basketball. NBA, as far as a global game, is massive. It is massive, and the NBA international game, not the NBA, the basketball as an international game is getting much better. Like, there's still people who are like, Team USA basketball is still the top dog, but it's one of those like we saw in 2004 what happened when you don't bring your best American players to play on.
You don't have to look that far. We lost this one, the World Cup this year.
Oh, did we?
Yes,
I did not.
I bet on them and lost. We went to we were 6th.
The FIBA 6th.
Well, we lost the knockout rounds. We lost, and then we didn't lose until the knockout round.
Who was on that squad?
Oh, a good amount. Like, it wasn't like our AA game.
Right. Well, like,
but if you're just looking on paper, talent wise, oh, absolutely, because we had, I don't know, probably 5 All-Stars and then the other 7 were like the 3rd or 2nd best player on each of their respective teams. You looked at every other roster, you might have 2 All-Stars and then guys who are like the 6th man or the 7th man, like,
But those teams, internationally, those teams played together and had a better chemistry as a team than USA did. So when you come into it, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. So when you come into it, it's like, and we saw it in 2004, because the big one for Team USA is the Olympics. That's the one that everybody watches.
Yes, that's the one where the big name players, they wouldn't skip out. Yeah,
well, in 2004 they did, and that was under Larry Brown. So like that team had like Tim Duncan. Again, this is, keep in mind, this is 2004. So 2004 Tim Duncan, 2004 Allen Iverson, but then it had like, post-rookie year LeBron James, post-rookie year Carmelo Anthony, post-rookie. I think Dwayne Wade was on that team too.
Probably then, yeah.
That was when the original LeBron D Wade connection got started. It's either that year or 2008. But that team was not America's best players. Kobe Bryant wasn't on that team. Shaq wasn't on that team. That was not our best set of players. And that team finished in 3rd.
Yeah.
So that was...
It wasn't still like, oh God, I remember the. Oh, what was that year where we lost to Puerto Rico?
I think that was 2004.
That was 2004?
Yeah, that
wasn't Larry Brown. The one I remember is the George Karl debacle. Was that?
That was one of the World Cup years under George Karl.
Losing to Puerto Rico.
That one was rough. And like but circling back, so basketball and MLS are approaching the same business standpoint from completely opposite ends of the game. So, and what they're both looking at is they are realizing it is a global game, and MLS is trying to get into the global game, whereas NBA is trying to expand that global game. And you're starting to see that. You're starting to see that in basketball with the more international, like Spain's team is getting really good. The Argentine team is getting really good. The Greek team is getting really good. Greece has become, I want to say, the second or third best league in the world behind the United States and Spain. Spain is starting to become a really nice feeder for the NBA. I mean, obviously, the biggest one of that has been the explosion of Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka Doncic has been playing for Real Madrid basketball since he was 15 years old. He was 15 years old and he was playing against grown men. And when you come in and you're playing against grown men and you're 19 years old and you're coming to the NBA, in all reality, it's not a huge transition because, yeah, you're playing against better talent, but you're also playing with better talent. And just the growth of Luka Doncic in the NBA is going to do a world of difference to the Spanish basketball game with regards to that. And Spain basketball is already pretty good. So, and then now you're looking at MLS and hopefully with Team USA in the men's national team where they can really get that growth from that expansion of just being good and even competing on the world stage. Because, like, we're doing this whole big celebration. Like, this is MLS, 25 years.
How far have we come in 25? Right?
Well, oh, man. Look at how far this league has come in 25 years. But then you compare that to the Premier League. You compare that to the Bundesliga. You just have to kind of admit to this. In a game playing against grown men, we are like adolescent teenagers.
Sure.
At that. We're not even like 18, 19-year-old teenagers. We're like 14, 15-year-old teenagers. So and you can kind of see it as we've kind of entered that adolescence. We're becoming a little unruly. We're starting to try and do things a little bit differently.
Trying to sow our oats with all these new teams. Yeah, that's for sure. Throwing everything out there.
Yeah, we're trying to sow our oats a little bit. And we're figuring ourselves out. The league and the club is. We got new ownership at the perfect time. We got new ownership at the perfect time. Because, I mean, New England Revolution was pretty good early on in the early days of the MLS. At this point, are they anything more than Bob Kraft's tax shelter? Are they? Am I? If you're a New England Revolution fan, or if you're well versed in that team, are they really anything more than Robert Kraft's tax shelter?
I mean, I know where else Robert Kraft puts his money. That's only like $100 at a time, right? The Revolution's like a few million for a tax shelter. I mean, I get that, yeah.
But like there are some clubs that are in need of new ownership, and unfortunately, I think New England Revolution might be one of them. No disrespect to Robert Kraft, he absolutely saved the Patriots. That team was on the verge of moving before he bought them. But I don't see anything lately that he's done great with the Revolution. I just don't. And there's some ownerships where they need to start taking a good hard look in the mirror and asking, like, do we want to compete? Because for a while, like to hold an MLS club, like, it was a trophy asset. It was something like, look at my fancy toy that I get to play with and just kind of mess around with. And granted, that's kind of...
But a cheaper one than you would have gotten. Like, that's what I think all these pro teams are. I mean, these are usually billionaires. But this is like, all right, what's one thing that not everyone can buy? Everyone can buy a boat. Everyone can buy the newest Bentley. With major sport teams, there's 30 of them each.
Yeah.
Of all your millionaire, billionaire friends, how many have those?
Yeah, how many of you have one of the how many of you have a nice box suite that has your name on it? Be like D. Haslam, name on the door.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the owner.
Yeah, I own.
That's my team.
Oh, what is like just imagine like a stranger meeting me like I've met Dr. Pete a couple times now, and like I just imagine a stranger like meeting him at the game, like not knowing who he is, and be like, oh yeah, I'm here, I've been working the ticket, maybe not working the ticket office, but like, oh yeah, I've been a Columbus resident here, like what do you do here? Oh, I own the team. Okay. And some of these owners need to have a good look in the mirror and be like, are we here to put a winning product on the field, or are we here to make money? And that's always been the problem with the Cleveland Indians, is that
sure.
the Larry and Paul Dolan have always run that organization like a real proper business, and they make money. Oh, do they make money? And if the team,
goodbye Lindor, because he's going to get too expensive for it. And Kluber, and
and if the team happens to do well, which it has, if the team happens to do well, that's a byproduct. That's a bonus to them.
Baseball though that's no hard cap.
And I will also say that business model has also helped keep ticket prices down.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing: like you can tell the sports, do they have a hard cap or not? If the answer is yes. Football, hockey, kind of basketball. Mainly those two. Like they are hard caps. Yeah. There's no like
MLS. To my understanding,
that's where you get the parity.
Yeah.
And then what sports do not have almost no cap at all?
Baseball.
So you have. I'm a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
Except for Mookie Betts, which I could get into an hour-long podcast myself. There you have those teams.
Yeah, baseball.
Premier League, Bundesliga, all the soccer teams. You have those 6, and if you're not one of those top 6. I mean, you're competing to be middle of the table. You're competing not to be relegated, and that's it.
And MLS does have a hard cap, with the exception of designated players.
That's where I think that's it. That's the most unique thing.
It's all monopoly money. Like
no other sport has it. Like in baseball, you have a bit, and even though baseball and basketball have the luxury tax, which is you can spend it, but we're gonna punish you for doing it.
And the NBA's luxury tax is much bigger than baseball's.
And then you have repeater. That's why baseball usually have those main teams. Basketball, you can usually be good for 4 or 5 years. And then once the repeater thing comes in, like they might say, look, we just need a year. Let's reset it. Let's not. Yeah.
Once you start paying
especially if you're not the LAs, the New Yorks, where like, look, we can't pay this every year.
Yeah. Once you're paying 300% on the dollar over the cap, like, you start to reevaluate your options real
That's why MLS is so interesting from a team building money thing compared to all their sports. You have the hard cap, but there's 3. And is there any limit? Is there any tax? No. There's literally nothing. You can do whatever you want with that. And that's what makes it like, man, it's interesting as far as team building.
Basically, here's how MLS spending rules works. They have their rules, and then LA Galaxy wants to do something. And then they change.
There's our rules.
And then they change
our
the
new
rules.
Are okay.
And then LA Galaxy does it. And then like 2 or 3 years later, everybody else starts to catch up. That's how they got David. David Beckham was the first MLS designated player. LA Galaxy wanted to bring in David Beckham. Salary cap rules wouldn't allow it, so they changed the salary cap rules to allow David Beckham to come to LA Galaxy. That's how that worked out.
So what I'm saying, as far as that, like to bring it to the crew, there's no limit if what Haslam wants to do with these 3 that we have. We can literally do anything, right?
We can pay them a many amount. The only big thing is, and I think I don't know if it comes for sales, but I don't know if it comes for purchases, but I know for sales, you don't negotiate with the club. You negotiate with MLS. This club kind of sets their guidelines, and then the MLS does the majority of the actual negotiating. So that means that means Don Garber got a cut of our Zach Steffen money. That means whenever Will Trapp finishes his season in Miami and he goes off to Europe somewhere, that's why he wanted to go to an MLS franchise for that last year. He didn't want to go to. I'm guessing he didn't want to go to Europe at that point, because at that point you have to deal with the MLS and and all of their sales.
Play out the deal.
Play out the deal. You're 27 years old.
Now you can go.
Now you can go where you're.
Now you can go where you want to.
Yeah, now you're a free agent. You've got your passport. You can go wherever you want. And I gotta say, man, Darlington Nagbe and Artur are making me forget all about him.
Artur, we should have mentioned Artur got the. He was in the MLS Team of the Week on the bench.
Again.
The bench, but still, like we did one of our brilliant first half comments. We were talking about how nice that defensive line was in the midfield that first half. They were just a stalwart line for that. And
they could not play the ball. Seattle could not play the ball through the middle through Artur and Nagbe. And I think Artur is going to be as good as Nagbe has been, because he is silky smooth up there. But Artur is going to be.
I think it's his 24th birthday today.
Nagbe? Or Artur?
Artur.
Yeah, I think it is. Happy birthday to Artur.
Artur, absolutely.
If that is the case. He is going to be the biggest beneficiary of the trap trade, because now he can with Nagbe just locking down defensively and being kind of the point guard, he can really get up there and make some plays and kind of be that, dare I say it, that Paul Pogba-esque type of character. Now, he does not have Paul Pogba's size.
You heard it here.
Or Paul Pogba's...
Matt said Paul Pogba equals Artur.
Yeah, he does not have Paul Pogba's size or speed or haircuts or Instagram following. But he's got... Yeah,
he'll work on that.
But he's got a very similar game, and we've got him locked up, and there's a good chance someone's going to buy him. I think the MLS has to be a... And this is something that Americans are not used to. So this is one of those adolescent things that I feel like as fans we might kind of have to come to peace with. Is in America, NFL, only league in town.
Yeah.
NBA, best basketball league in the world.
Yes.
NHL, best hockey league in the world.
Correct. Baseball.
Major League Baseball, best baseball league in the world. MLS. Maybe top 20, maybe, and that's probably being a little bit generous. I think if you were to
try to be best of this hemisphere,
try to be, yeah.
I could say that,
yeah,
best in the Western Hemisphere. We're trying,
yeah.
Don't worry about the other hemisphere.
Yeah, arguably best in the Western Hemisphere. I think if you were to take LA, well, not LA Galaxy now, but overall, LA Galaxy or LA City. Or one of the New York clubs, or DC United, you were to just try and pit them against a team in the English leagues, they're mid-level championship. They're mid-level Division 2. Now they can hang with them, they'll compete, but they're not going to make it into the Prem.
Yeah,
they're not. They are far and away they've been doing it longer. It's the biggest thing over there. That's what their best athletes gravitate to. And I think as we go through it, I think by the time maybe because I know you're in your 30s, I'm in my mid-30s too. I think by the time maybe we're hitting our 50s, you're going to see soccer and basketball just explode, because you're seeing it now. Parents aren't letting their kids play football.
Some of them. You need to get to the sticks more. It's still... You're right. The rich suburban kids aren't playing football, but... I'll give you a spoiler. They weren't the best players either.
the corn-fed.
We're talking about the people who don't care, and those where the players are. And I'm not worried for talent. You might miss some quarterbacks. That's about it, honestly.
Well, and that goes down a road that I am not quite willing to go down with at this point. But we'll see. I think you're going to see, but with the decline in enrollment in football,
that's true.
I think the biggest beneficiaries of that are going to be soccer and basketball.
Are they just going to ignore that concussions in soccer is almost as much as football?
I think
because it doesn't get the publicity. The media doesn't think so. If you look at all that, but if you look at, I think girls soccer is number 2.
It's number 2, but the big thing is the league actually took it seriously from the get-go. Now it helps when the league became relevant that it was already being taken seriously. They were seeing what the NFL was going through, having not taken it seriously. We should probably take this seriously when it happens. And FIFA came out with rules hey, we will, if it's a head injury, we will stop play. Any other injuries, they'll just keep play going until the ball goes out of bounds. But if it's a head injury, they stop immediately. So they took that much more seriously. And NFL did not come out looking good in any of that. And I think you're going to see basketball and soccer really
question for you. It sounds like, MLS, and we want all MLS to be good and grow. Would it bother you if it's never going to touch the top 10?
I think if we have a success...
It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either because it's one of those, like, it really is a global game.
Because I'm a Crew fan. I want to watch the Crew. I want to watch them win.
Yeah.
But, like, it's like, we need MLS to be almost like Serie A. Like, I don't think it ever will. And I'm okay with it never being Serie A.
Might be able to get... I think...
No.
In our lifetime, that's the best. That's the best it's going to get. It's Serie A. It's like to that level competitiveness.
I don't think it'll get there.
No, that's definitely a best case scenario. No, I would be okay with, like, if we're going to be that stopping ground from, South America and Central American players. You come here.
That's our best chance.
If you're good, if
we're getting the Africans too.
Yeah, if you're good, you can come here, hone your game, and then when you're ready to make that jump to the European leagues, we'll make a few bucks off of it too. You know what I mean?
When is I don't know if you knew this, but like where the money is in sports, especially in America, where does it come from? TV. If you want to be the big, what do you know when MLS what their deal when it'll be up? Because I don't live know sports. Even though ratings are down for everything, but it seems that live sports is the one where people aren't DVRing it.
It's the only thing.
It's still like they'll still buy it. The commercial companies will still buy it and put a lot of money, which means the networks will spend a lot of money to get it.
It is the only television event that is DVR proof.
Yep.
That is Hulu proof. That is Netflix proof.
Absolutely.
You cannot stop it. But yeah, the money's coming from there. It's I don't know, because right now ESPN is in like year 3. It's either 2 or 3 of their deal.
Is it 10?
I don't know how long it is. We should probably
most are 10.
Most are 10. But MLS or ESPN is in like year 2 or 3. Fox is in like year 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. Fox jumped on it early, and I think that ESPN's coverage through ESPN Plus for $5 a month, it's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Now they don't have basically they'll do is they'll just tap into the local feeds for all the different clubs. But it's like NBC Sports Gold for the Premier League. You can watch every single game that's out of market. Now, the Crew fans, especially the ones outside of Columbus, can't get Sports Time Ohio. Like Dayton can't get Sports Time Ohio, and that's where the Crew games are. Now our banner's about to go flying because of the dog.
But it's comfy.
Yeah. So, like, Dayton can't get Sports Time Ohio right now. It used to be on YouTube TV. It's not on YouTube TV anymore. So, like, there's some issues for the Crew specifically right now that there are fans outside of Columbus who can't get it. And then on top of that, if you're a fan in Columbus, the games are airing on ESPN Plus, but if you have a local TV contract, it defaults back to the local TV network takes precedence. So we're on Sports Time Ohio here, which means if I were to go to ESPN Plus on my TV right over there,
it's going to say,
this is not available in your market. You have to get Sports Time Ohio. I'm not sure how, why, and I am not paid to make those decisions, but that stuff needs to get cleared up. It just does. It's just one of those things where you have to clear it up, and the internet.
Can the people from Dayton not get it then? If they can't get
because as far as ESPN is concerned,
it's still
it's still the Columbus market.
That's terrible. Yeah,
it's stuff like that.
That's just there's some weird old archaic things. That.
The internet and the subscription based models.
Like I know you can't get Blue Jackets games in Toledo.
Yeah,
because that's Red Wing territory.
That's Detroit market.
Even though
they're on our side of the border. Come on, people.
Not only that, like they were showing like one of those like an old freaking like a golf tournament or something. Who knows? Like something that's a rerun of something. And like, okay, if the Red Wings are on, they're in the market, fine, whatever. But if they're not in the market, why can't the Blue Jackets take up that time?
Yeah,
I'd assume that the channel would like it. I assume it'd get better ratings than whatever, well, like the rerun of a golf thing. Even
with Fox, like they were cutting into the Crew to do like Cavaliers post game from what I saw and heard. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, how does the game itself not?
They pay for exclusivity so much that they're like cutting the nose, spite the face. Like the NFL, why is there only one afternoon game?
Yeah.
Why can't both channels show? They're paying for exclusivity when, like, okay, it's going to help us this week, but next week we're going to get hurt badly.
Yeah.
Right? So why don't they say, oh, you know what? We'll both have it, CBS and I'm Fox. CBS, let's both do it, and we'll both have a game on at 4.
They want that game. Basically, I feel like they just developed the Americans, like Fox just developed the Americans game of the week so they could showcase the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
I feel like that's why they did it. So, it's going to be really interesting going forward.
These rights of who gets to show what and when, it just seems so awkward to me.
It's the Wild West right now. There's no legislation backing on it either. So it's complete, dare I say the term, corporatist control over the entire market. And some people would say that's a good thing. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. But right now, there's a lot of stuff because they're flying by the seat of their pants. They don't know what they're doing. This is all new to them. So that's how you find out that the Dayton market, well, ESPN considers the Dayton market Columbus, but Sports Time Ohio
get it.
Yeah, but Sports Time Ohio doesn't. You know what I mean?
So then why doesn't Fox shake the hand of ESPN, which by the way, they're almost after the big deal of Disney buying Fox, they're bedfellows anyway.
Yeah. Why
don't they say, well, it's not hurting us that you would show. It's only gonna. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's something to keep an eye on. As you've seen, people have seen now from the content and the stuff that I work on. Follow the money.
Yeah.
Follow the money, and a lot more things will make sense to you. So that is all the time we have today for Crew Corner. I want to thank Adam for filling in and thank Loki for saying goodbye to us. Mm-hmm. But for that, my name is Matt.
Adam.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Go Crew.